Good morning, Brownie Bites. Welcome back. It is fantastic to have you here. Today is my birthday. Oh, thank you so much for coming along for the ride. You guys get to go along on my 35th birthday. To some, I'm older than dirt, and to others, I'm just a baby fresh out the womb. So wherever you fall in the spectrum, today we're going to talk about how to create your perfect life. Disclaimer, it doesn't exist. This behind me. Today we're hoping to tackle the question, how do you create your best life? 1 second. Who knew that it would be bopping at the Cracker Barrel? Can't be playing that copywritten music. So this video assumes two things. The first being that perfection is subjective. What we mean is your best life. And the second thing is this, we're Christian YouTubers, so our perspective is gonna be a God perspective. We're gonna be seeking God. He's gonna be introduced a lot in this video. So if that's not one of the two things that you're interested in, you might wanna click off this video now. Otherwise, here we go.
Yeah, this is how we do it.
What do you think it is?
I have no idea. I haven't even given it the... You can't tell with Jessie because she does the box within the box sometimes. AirPods.
Birthday breakfast. Now where are we going?
Best Buy.
Best Buy. So step number one to creating your perfect life is this. Take all of the plans that you have for yourself, all of the things that you think that you're going to be, the life that you have planned out, written down on paper, hopes and dreams, wad them up into this nice little ball, and throw them out the window.
Step number 2 to living your best life is to ask God to place on your heart what His plans are for you. After you've thrown away all the things that you thought were going to happen or that you thought you wanted, ask God what He wants for you, and then those desires become your desires. When you're living out His plan and His desires, and when those things become the things that you want, it's perfect. Your perfect story can only be written by the perfect author, which is God.
Okay, now that may seem a little harsh, but it's absolutely essential because you don't know what's going to happen next. You don't know what's best for your life and what's best for your story. For instance, I thought I was going to marry a girl when I was in high school that I dated in the Air Force, and I thought things were just lined up just perfectly. Turns out she wasn't the one. We broke up a couple years into the relationship. It was absolutely devastating. And I thought that was the end of what I had planned, everything that I had foreseen. But the cool part is, God had better plans. God had someone for me. I thought I knew love to begin with. I had no clue.
Burning like a light show, free yourself and let go. Time to see it all.
Is it on?
Yes?
Okay. One of my favorite stories that God has authored, well, He's authored all of mine, but one of my favorite ones is growing up, my dad was a preacher, and I never, ever, ever wanted to marry a preacher. I told myself that would never happen. I was tired of spending my life, every waking moment at the church, and I was like, this is not for me. So I met Jared. He was not going to be a pastor. Once we got married, God called him to be a pastor, and God softened my heart towards that and told me where He would take us and how it would be, that it would be different than I ever imagined it would be. And so now I'm married to a pastor, and I love it. I love it. I think it's where I belong, it's where he belongs, and I think it suits us and our relationship perfectly. So one of the best plans He had for me was a plan that I never wanted.
Number 3 is that all-important balancing act of getting the divine direction of the Lord and then pursuing what He's called you to do. So waiting upon the Lord and pursuing what He's called you to do. For me, I wanted to be a football coach. I came out of the military. I was pursuing becoming a football coach with everything in my being, and then God called me to. He gave me a direction and set a course to be a pastor, to preach the good news to the brokenhearted. So I began down that path. There's a balance. There's a calling. There's a you're going to do this in your life, and then there's also a pursuit of that. I needed to be equipped. I needed to be trained. I found mentors, people who are willing to come alongside and pour into me. I also went to a seminary to be equipped to preach the word and teach the word. So it's a little bit of both. There's a calling, there's an anointing, there's a resting, there's a waiting upon the Lord, and then there's a pursuit of that, and it has to be in tandem, otherwise it doesn't make any sense.
Mine's kind of the same. I have the gift of teaching, and so I am a teacher. Even if I never went to school, I'm a teacher because it's the gift that God has given me. But in order to be a teacher in an educational setting, I had to pursue that. I had to go get qualified and credentials and stuff like that, and I had to work for it. But at the same time, he provided all the stuff along the way to get me there. So I didn't have to freak out and stress out because it was already going to happen. But I just had to take one little tiny step myself to go in the right direction.
So if you're trying to figure out, hey, what's the perfect plan for my life? Like, where's this thing going? Remember, take your plans, throw them out the window. Ask the author of your life what he wants to do, and then find that balancing act of, he's spoken it, he's told you what he wants to do with your life, and how do you actively pursue that without getting into works and flesh and all that other stuff? So relax, take it easy. There is no perfect life. There's only a perfect author who's going to guide you every step of the way. Right?
Yep, that's it.
We love you, and we will see you in the next one. We're out. And one more thing, if you made it this far in the film, then you're our target audience. You watched all the way to the end. We love you guys. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and consider subscribing. Hit the subscribe button below, ring the bell so that you'll be notified every time we release a video. We're all about helping you taste and see the extravagant love of God, because we believe that when you taste and see how great He is, it's going to change the world around you just naturally. When He is who He says He is in your heart, you're going to be who you're supposed to be in the world around you. We love you. Hop on board.
I feel like